Oh, yeah, let's check in with Tim Pool. Tim Pool on the TikTok ban. He must be very, very mad with Donald Trump right now. Just to give you an idea of what happened with TikTok, if you are not a TikToker, and I don't want to pretend like I am, I'm not. We do have a Majority Report TikTok, and I do have a TikTok myself somewhere. I'm not even sure what it's called because I just use it occasionally to see if I can spy on my kids, and I can't because I don't know how to operate it. But my kids got a message on yesterday from TikTok. We are closing down. We're hoping that President Trump will be able to save us. Now, understand, Biden had already said, leaving it up to the Trump presidency, which in and of itself was also dodgy. I don't know why he could have done that or how he could have done it. Remember, we were supposedly banning this because it was a national security issue. And the Biden administration's like, well, national security, but I'm going to punt to the next president. And then TikTok was like, oh, our owners invited into the skybox at the inauguration with the other billionaires. What are we going to do to placate Donald Trump? We're going to write that only Donald Trump can save us. And then when we come back online, we'll say he worked. I mean, this is going to be the formula for a lot of stuff, dude. Right here. This is it. There's a meteor coming at incredible speed at the Earth. It's going to impact tomorrow morning unless I do something as president of the United States. Half an hour later, I did it. I shot it out of the sky. You didn't hear it because it was so far away. We used a very quiet laser to do it. You're welcome. I saved your life. So TikTok is back up. Trump has given it 75 days. I don't know under what authority he has to create this type of window with a new commission to look at it. But his proposal is somebody should get together, buy TikTok, and the U.S. should kick in half. I'm sort of open to that, but how about this? How about the U.S. just owns it outright? Let's just own these things. Here is Tim Pool, though, opining over this before he understands what's going on, I guess.
The nation's highest court said in the opinion that while data collection and analysis is a common practice in the digital age, the sheer size of TikTok and its susceptibility to foreign adversary control, together with the vast swaths of sensitive data the platform collects, poses a national security concern. Full stop. It's not just that, ladies and gentlemen. It is the algorithm. They don't show this garbage to their kids. If even 1% of our younger generation are...
Here's the fascinating thing about this. If TikTok and the Chinese manipulate their algorithm any differently than Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or I would be largely shocked. They're all going for the same thing. Now, it may be the case.
They're just doing it Chinesely.
Yeah, it may be the case that the Chinese actually sort of like show more flaws in what's going on. But we know that other countries try and influence also our political debate by financing existing outlets. This is going to sound crazy to people, but foreign nationals will finance existing outlets that are already putting out stuff that is so toxic and harmful, and in some cases stupid, that they will support them even if those outlets don't realize they're getting that money. Like, they're just so bad, they're already doing their work for them. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that there are actually outlets like that?
You're so cynical.
Go ahead.
don't show this garbage to their kids. If even 1% of our younger generation are being exposed to psychotic imagery and nonsense ideas, it is going to have a negative impact on this country in the future to the benefit of our adversaries. Our own platforms are bad enough with this stuff. We don't need TikTok doing the same thing.
Pause it.
Under the terms of the law.
What is outrageous? What is it, psychotic imagery? And what is it that I'd be more curious as to what he thinks is detrimental to this country that our adversaries are putting out? Like, is it like, I mean, I'm just trying to get myself in the head of an adversary, a foreign power. And if I was to go and let's say I didn't have the ability to own a platform that everybody's on, but I would choose different people who are already on that platform who are espousing stuff that is already detrimental to society, so they've further undermined society. What would I do? Oh, here's a handbook that's up on Yahoo. Put up a handbook on how to do this. Oh, wait, this is a news report. Oh, this is a news report about how an adversary, a foreign adversary, wanted to influence people and, I guess, harm our society by supporting existing voices on platforms who already they feel are basically doing their work for them. So we might as well just support these people. Why build our own company if it already exists? We can just buy it, essentially.
If even 1% of our kids are seeing this hysterical stuff from these people funded by our adversaries, it's a pretty concerning thing.
And let's be clear, you don't have to know that you're being supported by our adversaries to be doing all their dumb work. Like, the bottom line is, whatever you think TikTok is doing to our children, guess what? Russia thinks you're doing it to our children too.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, when he says, like, we already have enough of this, the only way to have addressed this, which we said on this show at the time, was to go after all of these companies with a comprehensive data privacy legislation. And instead we did this veer towards a nationalism. Yep. Actually, the problem is there's Chinese investors in it. And so we never actually addressed the fundamental issue.
Third-party internet service providers like Apple and Google will be penalized for supporting a ByteDance-owned TikTok after the January 19th deadline. If service providers and the App Store owners comply, consumers will be unable, I copied it here, guys, unable to install the necessary updates that make the app functional. So basically, you'll have the app, you'd be able to use it, that's about it. Here's the issue. It's going to be off the App Store, so no new users. But TikTok is saying, so what? We're going to shut it down. The rumor is TikTok will direct all American users to a screen that just says, we have been shut down, blame your government. And you know what? It'll piss a lot of people off, but I'm excited for it. Young people are addicted to these short-form platforms, and I think it is good and healthy to force them off. I got to be completely honest. If the algorithm was healthy and promoting good news and information, I'd support it. But I don't trust what China is doing at data collection and the message they're sending to young people, largely woke garbage.
Okay, pause it. So obviously, Donald Trump, Tim Pool is very mad at Donald Trump today. We will find that out. We will report on that later because he's really pissed because he really thinks this is a good move. But again, why does he think the garbage that Russia would promote is any better or worse than the garbage that China would promote? They have basically completely aligned incentive structures, right? It's not like Russia has a special sauce about what they think will dumb down Americans, misinform Americans, as opposed to the Chinese. I mean, for all we know, Tim Pool might be getting money from China unbeknownst to him. He's got a new benefactor, Francois Gillebrand. is his new benefactor, and it turns out to be Chinese money. I mean, this is what happened to him with Russia. They identified Tim Pool as putting out garbage that is undermining people's sense of information, and we're just going to help him do it. We don't even have to convince him to do this stuff. He does it on his own. Tim doesn't understand what he is indicting himself here. If he is the mechanism for this garbage that Russia felt like that they were putting out, and he concedes that like foreign governments adversaries will try and undermine our society by putting out garbage, they're not going to just like, we don't have to produce it if it's already being produced for us with a guy without a Russian accent. Go ahead.
Developing this law. Make no mistake, my friends, many people are basically saying that there's true information we can get from TikTok we can't get in the US. But there are other apps you can use that have free speech. Rumble allows people to say largely anything. You have BitChute. X is largely free speech. I say largely, it's not perfect. The issue I see with TikTok is that we can't access, we have no recourse, and it is not...
Pause it. What is the recourse we have for... Musk and his desire for everybody to have his heart.
The guy who exposed DMs of somebody who said he was bad at video gaming.
I mean, what is our recourse there?
Got so much recourse with Mark Zuckerberg.
How is it different? I'm supposed to trust Elon Musk with all our data?
Because America.
Zuckerberg with our data?
They're patriots.
Tim Pool with informing people? I mean, the Russians sponsor him. They sponsor him. Well, honestly, if Tim Pool was a race car, he'd have on the back of the race car Russian disinfo. I didn't realize they put that decal on there.
I'm a victim.
I'm a victim. Somebody put a decal on my car. I took the money.
Keeping the money.
I took the money for it. I just didn't realize the decal would look like that.
Go on Rumble, kids.
I mean, and it's even worse. Like, look, if BP during the spill, let's say, came to me and said, we want to sponsor your show, Sam. They'd want to do it because they know that I'm out there and I'm shitting on them. And they want to have an opportunity to convince my listeners of something different. They're trying to whitewash their brand. If they're doing it surreptitiously, if BP is giving me money and I'm out there criticizing them, it doesn't make any sense. But if I'm already operating on behalf of BP or the fossil fuel industry or, whomever it is, and they pay me surreptitiously, even in a way that I don't know, that means that I'm really doing their job. It's actually sort of worse than taking money knowingly and transparently from the Russians. Or from our, let me just put it in his term, from our foreign adversaries. It's fascinating. I wonder if he feels like he has to do this because it's a way of like trying to cover up for the fact that he was basically working for the Russians. He didn't know he was.
Yeah, drape
but he
yourself
was
in the
doing
flag.
all of their work, which he says is nefarious. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
We can't access, we have no recourse, and it is not, we don't know what their intentions are. China may allow certain conversations, largely on Israel-Palestine. But they're not doing it because they want you to get good information. They're doing it because it is disruptive to the U.S.
Oh, pause.
A lot of people in this country.
So, like, if you wanted to be disruptive to the U.S., let's say you were like our Russian adversary, you just find people who are doing conversations that are disruptive and problematic, as he says, to the U.S.
Talking about civil war all the time.
Yeah, interesting. Go ahead.
It because it is disruptive to the U.S. Now, a lot of people in this country are dissenters, and they want to rely on foreign adversaries for access to dissent. Americans have a right to speak, and X affords you that ability. It's imperfect, but it's good. It works. You're allowed to be on there.
What about Blue
Even
Sky?
many of these people who are very anti-Israel, who are complaining about losing their verification badges, can still post. And you can go on Rumble, much the same. Quote.
Interesting, Tim.
That's interesting. It's got to be tough for him. Facebook automatically follow Trump and Vance on my behalf. Edward Gregorian. Oh, coincident.
It's interesting he mentions all those venture capitalists that invested in people like Dave Rubin and Tim Pool, like David Sachs, the Colin. Was it Colin or Locals with Dave Rubin that was eventually bought by Rumble?
Yeah, well, I mean, David Sachs is on Rumble, right?
Yep. Because Colin or Locals.
And it's not like a crypto guy would have an agenda.
No. Venture capitalists, no.
And wouldn't control his algorithm to promote that.
The Silicon Valley Bank bailout proponent.
Edward Gregorian, can't wait for a really fun half today. 20-minute poop club. I'm happy to report that as right now, 20 minutes or longer movements are not yet outlawed. What I fear the future holds, however, each executive order brings us one step closer to a sub 20-minute movement reality. Majority Report wardrobe coordinator, people who won't stop pissing and shitting themselves over 19-year-olds saying dumb chants on college campuses suddenly have nothing to say about this. I know, it's amazing. The ADL is a joke. A disgusting joke. Gerald from New Orleans. The Apartheid Defense League is bending over backwards to defend Musk's gesture to almost nobody's surprise.
Well, that's the irrelevant A word, not autism. He was born under apartheid.
Mike from Texas. With so many Texans on the IM, you owe us the next live show. Come on, make Austin happen.
That'd be cool.
Sleeping sleeper agent. He's the wealthiest person on the planet. You don't get that title without going through tons of media training. He knows what he's doing. Jay Tingle. Bernie Sanders voted for his former colleague Mark Rubio for Secretary of State. Evidently, this vote is potentially beneficial to working families.
Yeah, not a fan of that one. Who didn't vote on that?
I think they all voted for him.
It was 990. What's the missing one? Is there someone out?
Maybe there's some Republican who didn't show up, or somebody was just out. Live free and die. Does Cozy Earth sweatpants go well with sweater vests? Not as bad as you would think. Jeffrey from Maryland, the ADL defending Musk, making a fascist salute is pretty on par.
I mean, Laura Ingraham did it in 2016, too.
Jimmy from Oxford. Majority McJora face. The movement to rename starts here. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.